What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Tree from treeoflogic.com, and I'm here with Sargon of Akkad, who has joined me today. And dude, he was on time because I've seen you, Sargon. I've seen you show up late at some streams.
Well, yeah, it's never on purpose. I'm just really bad at organizing, which is why I've got someone to help me organize, and it means I can actually turn up on time.
Okay. Well, good. Well, thank you for having a discussion with me. I just wanted to take the time to talk with you because I, of course, was a little put off with the fact, not a little, I'm just going to be real. I was just very put off with the fact that everybody is like glossing over Candace Owens, the things she did to me specifically, but I was really surprised in that interview. And before we even get into that, and then I also let you know what really went down, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, Treeologic is jealous. Treeologic is, she's just basically mad because Candace rose to the top. No. Treeologic is furious because Candace put my life in jeopardy to be killed. And a lot of people are like glossing over that fact. Now, my hardcore fans know about all of this. A lot of people who have been around the whole socialautopsy.com thing know about this. But it seems like she keeps revamping herself. And I'm never going to let that go because she specifically stated that she was never going to apologize. And everything I state here to you, I will provide links in the description box. But the thing about it is that I was really shocked that she flew all the way over there to your country. And I'm thinking, like, why would she do that? And then I thought, to revamp herself, because let's be honest, Sargon, you are a hot commodity right now. I guess you are the savior, and I have said this too. You're the savior for to stop the deplatforming. I said this.
I hope I'm not any kind of savior.
Well, you are actually, and I said this. Listen to my logic, and you'll see why. I'm not. Okay. Trust me, I'm not trying to compliment you.
No, I don't consider it a compliment. That curse, like God.
Here's the thing.
That'd be true.
When oh my God, who was the first one to get what's the blonde? Oh my, some names escape me sometimes.
Lauren Southern.
When she was deplatformed from Patreon, there was a big uproar, mainly on the right. Okay, the center and definitely the left didn't really care because they consider her a white nationalist, a white supremacist, blah 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 blah.
I don't think that's the reason that a lot of people didn't care. It was for me at least, there was nothing I could do because Jack Conte was standing very firmly on the manifest observable behavior, and she was on a ship. She was, directing them and all this sort of stuff. So it's a very difficult argument to really go against, because if that's the rule that they've got in the rules, and he did reference the rules, so it's like if that's the rule, then that's the rule. But it wasn't the rule that Patreon were going to watch your brand and decide if they liked you or not. And so I think that's the distinction. But I mean, I wasn't for them deplatforming Lauren. I mean, I don't think she did anything particularly wrong. No one was hurt or anything. So, I think that Patreon it was more driven by political bias than anything else, definitely, because Patreon undoubtedly consider her to be a white nationalist. And the same happened with James Allsup. And James Allsup didn't even do anything wrong, as far as I can tell. It's just for being a white nationalist, he's been deplatformed. Like, they didn't even give a reason. Like, what had he done? What's his manifest observable behavior? And Milo was just having liked the Proud Boys.
Well, you're jumping ahead, because the Milo happened during your deplatforming, and so did James Allsup. But first it started with Lauren Southern, and then the quartering was the next one. Yeah? Remember that?
Yeah, because he had been exposing pedophiles, and they considered that to be doxing. But again, there's a fairly standard interpretation of their rules, like a common sense interpretation of the rules could put what he did under the category of doxing. So they could then, if they wanted to, consider that actionable. And so, whereas I think it's like this has doubtless been done in other ways that is in favor of them, and this is just the sort of there's this theory like the law is a blade, right? And they say it cuts the postmodernist thing that it cuts against certain kind of communities, and I think that's what we're seeing here. It's like if it could be charitably interpreted, then and the quartering was progressive, they wouldn't have kicked him at all. You know, he'd still have his Patreon, but because he's an anti-SJW, it can be uncharitably interpreted, and then he can be kicked. And it's the same for Lauren and the quartering. You know, there was an uncharitable interpretation.
But I think regardless of what they hold that thought for a second, regardless of their justifications for doing it, you didn't have they together combined didn't have the type of uproar like you did, because you're more on your. I know you say you are a classical liberal, but in my definition, in most of our definitions, you have the left has gone so far left, and now that you are a centrist, yeah. So believe it or not, and I've tried to get centrists off my channel. They can't. They just don't go away. I love them now, but I did not like the centrists being 80% of my 80% of my subscribers are centrists, and when
they've got nowhere else to go.
Yeah, they do. Why did he come in? It's too late. I fell in love with them. I can't get rid of them because I love them now. But when in the beginning, when they used to come to my channel, I used to clown them, talk about them, belittle them, and they wouldn't go away. And then all of a sudden, they just warmed my heart. And I said, okay, guys, all right, I'm just going to let you just be my taters, and I'm going to love you since you guys seem to enjoy me, and it's going nowhere. So I realized that the centrists, and I've said this before, after 2024, if the Democratic Party, it looks like the Democratic Party is going to be totally destroyed. This is where the third party, because our elections is not the same as your elections. We have more of a two-party system. Well, this is an opportunity for the centrists, the independents, the people in the middle who are not left, who are not right, who are not Democrats, who are not Republicans, to actually make a stand and be a force to be reckoned with. And when they came out in droves and had the biggest backing because of you, I said, oh man, these people are going to be a problem. Because I'm a hardcore right winger. Okay. I'm not fake like Candace. I am really a hardcore right winger. So it's like, the thing about it is, I was like, oh my God, these people, these centrists are going to be a force to be reckoned with come 2024. And if you get a politician here in America that is a libertarian, like a Rand Paul, like if a Rand Paul ran as a libertarian, I'm sorry, if Pence ran for 2024 and Rand Paul ran as a libertarian as a third party, Rand Paul would just win it hands down. He's loved by both sides. But anyway, we're just going on and on and on. But anyway, so that was because of, you have been embraced and now you've been exalted. And I know you don't want this position, but that's how it has been. So because of you, now we have people looking at Patreon. And because of you, now there's actions, consequences and repercussions for what Patreon has done to not just you, but to everyone who they disagree with. So now so when I saw her with you, I was like, yeah, Sargon is hot now. Because here's the thing, I only started recently hearing you push, Candace. Like I listened to your videos and I heard you with the whole mega hat with Kanye West and the mega hat, and you were like adamantly defending. I'm like, what's this about? Then when you did the interview, I was like, okay, now it makes sense. So my question is like, how did you two meet, and how did that come to happen that she flies all the way over there just to talk about her and Kanye?
Well, she wasn't just visiting for me. She's remarkably close to Donald Trump at this point, as is like Kanye West, and it just seemed.
I'm sorry, hold that thought. She said she's remarkably close to Donald Trump, but she's really close to Charlie Kirk, who's close to Donald Trump Jr.
I think they're all quite close to one another.
Where's the evidence for that?
Well, just the social interactions that I've had with them.
With Donald Trump and Candace?
No, not me with Donald Trump, but with me and people who Donald Trump knows. Like it's basically I'm learning the network of people who are around in these circles. I mean, the left has these too. Like one thing that I found really interesting since I've been doing I guess what I would consider this is kind of organizing or something like that. I don't know how I would describe like a lot of what I do. But basically I talk to people, and that's how like these interviews come about, where I get to interview like someone interesting, because they're looking to network. And that's the thing, because they recognize that this is what the left has been doing for quite some time. And the right has really, and not just the right, but the center as well, it's just anyone who's outside of the leftist network has been really weak. And effectively, this is a way of kind of making us strong against them. And I think it's something that has to happen.
I see the network amongst people who are, I hate to use this word, but that's the only way I can say it is privileged, because to me, like, I am the underdog here, and I'm going to always defend myself. But the thing about it is that I totally see no evidence of her and Donald Trump being the best of friends now, or close. Who was close was Omarosa and Donald Trump. Yes, there was lots of evidence. You saw them together. You saw them at the campaign. Donald Trump and Diamond and Silk are close. You see them hanging out all the time. You see him tweeting them, talking about them, dropping their names. But no. That's not the same with Candace, especially with the situation with Kanye
I don't
West.
have any particular proof, but it seems that everyone around her was under the same impression. So I don't see it. Well, it could be. I mean, I don't know. But the thing is, I'm not really interested in trying to undermine them. I appreciate that.
No. I don't want you to undermine them. You have bad blood with her
in the past. But the thing is, like, I don't really see what I'm supposed to do about that.
No. I'm not. What I'm doing is, I'm doing what other people don't do. They don't, and this is the reason why I was surprised that you did this, Sargon. You did not. You are I'm about to compliment you, but I know you can see how painful it is in my face. I don't receive
many compliments. Or at least I tend to listen to my detractors a lot. So.
Oh no, I'm a big detractor, but I have to. Fair. I'm fair. One of the things that had attracted me to your channel before I decided to come into YouTube was how diligent you were on research. How you always research your topics. You broke it down. You showed the links. You showed the clippings. This was great. But you dropped the ball when it came to Candace, because like in that video you did. Let's talk about the first thing that you said, and I actually got you quote, but I'm quoting you directly.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it says, because when you are dealing with, hi, Candace, you're very nice and cordial. And then you go into, because when you are dealing with an activist who has been working for a long time, you have to address certain things they have done in the past that people on the left or the right don't apparently like. But to be honest with you, I'm not going to do that, because I find that to be kind of a leftist tactic. And so my problem with that framing that you just did was the fact that you said she was an activist for a long time. No, she's only been an activist for a year.
Well, I mean, when she was doing like social autopsy, wasn't
so she was
an
activist for the left. You're conflating, you're combining that.
Well, I mean, she was still an activist, wasn't she?
She was an activist for socialautopsy.com doxing site. I mean, do you want to combine her being an activist for a doxing site because people said mean words, and then conflate her to a mega movement?
Well, I mean, whether you agree with it or not, it's still activism.
Okay, so then just 2 years then. Even if you
want to combine that. I thought it was 2013, the social autopsy.
Huh?
I thought social autopsy was like 2013 or something.
No.
Was it 2015?
Yeah.
17.
2016.
Right, okay.
2016.
I actually right. So I feel the same about social autopsy as I kind of do about Candid. I agree that it's an inherently bad thing, but it never got off the ground. So I didn't spend
Because
too much
I
time
stopped
about
it. That's what people don't research on. What happened was just a quick rundown. She was a liberal. She was a Bernie person. She called Trump stupid, said he was retarded. And by the way, like I said, everything I'm saying to you right now, I can prove it. I actually did videos on
I'll
this.
take you at your word. I believe it.
Okay, and I'll provide links in the description box. Okay, so she put this socialautopsy.com site out. She had a Kickstarter. The liberals shut it down. Okay, then she blamed it on, oh God, what's the feminist with the purple hair?
It wasn't Zoe Quinn, was it?
Zoe Quinn. Thank you.
Yeah,
She said
I remember
Zoe
reading
Quinn
something
and
about
her,
it at the time.
Huh? I'm
I
sorry.
can't-
Say it
Sorry,
again.
yeah, go on.
We're walking over. No. Go ahead. I want to hear you.
Yeah, no, I do recall. Good point. I do recall reading, like, I don't know, it must have been an article or something about it at the time, and I thought it was amusing that Zoe Quinn had got into a scuffle with another SJW over basically exactly her territory, exactly what she does.
Yes.
But I didn't think too much of it because it, wasn't the biggest thing in the world.
Well, they stopped it. That's why. Because yeah. And
but then Candice decided that she disagreed with leftism in general, and then went and became a right wing activist.
What
and
happened was Mike, because so many people, dogpiled on her from the left, because as a liberal, she was so pissed off that the feminists dogpiled on her. The liberals were like, this is stupid. So many of your high profile liberal YouTubers were making a video saying, this is a stupid idea. This is crazy. And so therefore, Mike Cernovich embraced her and actually convinced somebody from Breitbart to write a nice piece about her, saying she just meant to do the right thing. It wasn't really, something that was done in a very vicious way. She just want to stop hate speech, blah, blah, blah. And then she was with Mike was like, with her and Mike, that's where the tweet says, thanks to Mike Cernovich, I've been red pilled. So she goes, she deletes all her Twitter accounts because she had two. She goes underground. She comes back up on TED Talks, and she does a TED Talks to an empty audience. It's just a recording of her doing a TED Talks talking about how it is to be an activist. That was during October of 2016. Apparently that didn't go over well. And then she went underground again for about 5 months, came back as Red Pill Black. Now, when she came as Red Pill Black, being a hardcore right winger myself, I had no idea about social autopsy. This is, I will admit, this is the bad thing about people like, not you, Sargon, people like me and those of us who are on the right, we tend to stay in our little bubble. Not anymore. This situation has got me to the point where I subscribe to a lot of liberal channels, so I am in the know, so this doesn't sneak up on me anymore. But Harmful Opinions did a video saying, the stupid conservatives, the stupid Republicans don't even realize that Candace Owens has revamped herself as Red Pill Black, and she's still promoting the socialautopsy.com video website. And so when she was on Alex Jones, when she was on Paul Joseph Watson, she would never say socialautopsy.com. She would just say Social Autopsy is a anti-bullying website. And if you would like to fund it, here's my Patreon. So me, a former police officer who's, very good at investigation, I said, social autopsy. So I just Googled social autopsy. The website came up, went to the website, looked at it, and I was like, oh my God. I was like floored that, one, it was a doxing site. Two, it was still collecting doxes. And then the third thing that just dropped my heart, just made me so scared. I'm kind of like getting antsy about it now. My dox was on there. And it was information that only my family could have known. And just so you know, you don't know that much about me, but I have nothing to do with my family. I haven't talked to my mother and father in over 20 years. Ever since I left the liberals and I left the thinking of the liberal movement and the white man is not the devil. That was the biggest thing, is I was not for, listen, we as Black people have more opportunities, even more than white people, because there are certain things allowed to us they're not allowed to white people. And of course, I'm called a race traitor, called a coon, this and the other. And we just separated, especially when I didn't support Obama.
Dude, we're going to have to do like a separate podcast or something talking about this, because I find all this really fascinating stuff, and I think it's important to talk it through. I really do. Like, I genuinely, this is why, like, with the whole sort of thing with social autopsy and Candid as well, like, because they didn't go anywhere, I don't really spend much time worrying about them, but I agree they're bad. But the thing with Candace is that she's bringing that conversation right in up front and center, and she's managed to do it in a way that obviously
she's not bringing that
conversation
conversation about the social autopsy and the hate speech. You know what I'm saying?
I know she's not bringing that one up, but the thing that you're talking about, the Black identity conversation,
she got it from us. She got it
from
I know. She's just rehearsing the things that we have been on YouTube longer than her, and she's just basically looking at our videos, listening to our talking points, and then she's actually just rehearsing it better. It sounds better from her because she had a better upbringing than I do. When you listen to me, Sargon, you hear that, hey, I did not have the perfect education, and I did not have the upbringing that she had. I grew up poor. I grew up under a very abusive mother. My mother and father divorced when I was 5. Because I looked like my father, my mother would beat me for sport. And I ran away when I was 11, and I got out of this situation. You know who helped me get out of this situation? Out of the situation I was? White people. So here's my thing. If the white man is such a bad thing, why is it that they help me get out of the ghetto? Why is it they help me get out of these situations? Candace can't relate to that. And the fact is, she called me a crackhead because I grew up poor. That's what people don't understand, why I'm so furious. She said Treehouse is a crackhead. I had to actually, because I take my health very seriously, and I was going to sue her. Now, I think they have this law called the statute of limitations is about to be up. If I have okay, long story short, I was a police officer. I put some very dangerous men in jail. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean to do this to you, Sargon, but you remember that video I did where I actually talked against, I was very angry with you, and I played the video and I said, how dare this white man talk about how we as police officers,
I don't recall that offhand, I'm afraid, but I get a lot of people doing responses.
No. You saw that video because I remember it was a while back. No, it's okay.
Yeah.
It was
Sorry,
I've because
I've
you said
memory.
Tria Logic, I really like her videos, but she's mad at me for some reason because I saw a video she did about me, and it wasn't directly about you. It was about the fact that you actually said that a cop should risk his life for. I'm paraphrasing, so I could be misquoting you, but I actually had your actual audio there. But anyway, the reason I'm bringing that video up, Sargon, is because in that video, I was talking about a black woman who was killed by a person who who just got out of jail. And he was arrested by a black woman. Well, he found out that black police officer, black female police officer, has transferred and went to another department outside the state of New York. So he just wanted to kill a black woman that looked like her. These people, when they've been in jail for 20 years, they have nothing to lose. All they have to think about is, not all of them, hashtag not all, but you have a select few.
I know what you mean.
Okay? So you have them that says, to kill me on sight, shoot on sight. And they got connections to gangs, because when you're in the jail, you have a lot of connections to other people outside of the jail to do the hit. If social autopsy was released, I would have had a hit on my hand, and I wouldn't be able to stay in my house unless I had police escort or police security to actually come and get my things out of my house, because now you're going to have people, there's a bounty on my head to shoot me on sight. So I pleaded with Candace on Twitter. This is when I had a Twitter. My Twitter is suspended because I called David Duke a racist grandpa. But that's beside the point. I know. Isn't it crazy? Ageism. because of ageism. I am not supposed to talk against someone because of their age. And because I called a racist man like David Duke a racist grandpa, I got permaban.
That's not ageist. That's a literal description of what he is.
I know.
That's nuts.
I know. I did a video on it and showed the email from Twitter, and I said, "Look at this, look at this. The liberals have permabanned a black woman who talked shit about David Duke."
That's amazing. Honestly, I got banned from Twitter because I was defending the Holocaust,
and you was going against the alt-right, right? It makes you think that these people really support their alt-righters. To me, it's like they love the alt-right more than they love the people who are against them. I think they hate us and love them. Because
I think so. I really think so. I think that you're exactly right. I think that they view us as an actual threat.
Yes.
I mean, like they got Richard Spencer on, like, the BBC, the Guardian, Vice, all of these mainstream, for him to give his talks to them. And do they come to us? Of course they don't come to us. No. But Richard Spencer represents something they want.
It's the scary
a proper
man.
enemy. Yeah, he's scary. Richard Spencer's a ponce. He's obviously gay. Like it, Richard. If you listen to this, I'm you've got the moustache and the fedora, man. Come on. I mean, I'm not against it. I'm pretty liberal. It's very progressive.
I love this. I love because I laugh when he did this to you, and now I'm laughing when you're doing it to him. So I'm just in the middle, like, ooh, this is some good old tea, right?
I'm just. It's just a bit of friendly teasing. But, I can't do it because everyone's like, oh, this is just because of the debate. I don't care about the debate. I care about moustaches. Tipped fedoras. Now we're right up my alley. But you're absolutely right. Richard Spencer, the alt-right, the white nationalists, they are just a small fringe group, and then you would swear that they are in the millions, according to the left. Dude. Honestly, right? Supply and demand. There is just not enough supply of Nazis to meet the demand, and so they have to make up Nazis fucking everywhere.
As the same goes with, there's not a huge supply of white supremacists, so then you have blacks creating these, race hoax. They'll go on their own car and put nigger on there, and then go, look at what the white person did, and it comes to find out that they put that there. You know what I'm saying? So,
and what I love about them as well is so often they can't even draw the swastika, and it's like, dude,
yes!
I'm fucking swastika. Honestly, I went to a talk at Canterbury, I think it was Canterbury University. I went to give a talk, right?
Yeah.
And a few weeks before, they'd had a quote KKK Nazi scare, and it was literally Buddhist swastikas that had been drawn everywhere because the person who drew them had obviously never really seen a Nazi swastika.
No.
And it was just like, look, this is an obvious hoax. Okay. You don't have an infestation of Nazis. You have an infestation of SJWs. That's your problem.
Right. Right. Exactly. I totally agree. But yeah, so it's like, so you have
talk about, this is the real world.
Yeah. So with all of that, getting back to the original part, we're getting with all of that in mind. So with me pleading with her on Twitter saying, Candace, don't launch this site, because the site was going to be launched once they receive it. Like I said, it's all in the video. I made sure I did everything documented. I don't know what the number was, but she had in the FAQ that when she reached, I think maybe 15,000 doxes, the site was going to auto launch. And then I found out my cousin submitted my docs, and when we really hate each other, submitted my full docs, which had my picture, a picture that only she would have, from when I was active on Facebook. Yeah. And it had every school I attended, from elementary school up until postgraduate school. Of course, it had my address. Of course, it had all of my social media links. I mean, it was just a full dox.
Yeah.
And I typed to Candace on Twitter, and all these tweets are archived. I said, Candace, please don't release this site. You're going to get me killed. You're going to get me killed. And you know what she did? She blocked me. And then when she was confronted about it, she said, I will never apologize for socialautopsy.com. That's what the liberals want us to do. Now, at that time, and still even to this time, Andy Worski and I were not cool. We're not cool now, but I'm going to just show you how the left and the centrists came to my rescue. I made a video. I was so desperate, Sargon. I made a video telling everybody what was going on with Candace Owens, the Doxing site, how everybody was ignoring it, how the conservatives was funding it, and that this was going to put my livelihood and my life in jeopardy. And so I pleaded with them. I said, please convince her to take this site down. Did you think anybody on the right came to my aid? No. They were saying, listen, Candace is going to wake up the black community. You just need to get in line. You need to get information and blah, blah, blah. But guess who came to my site? Guess who came to my aid? The people on the left as well, because they already got rid of her once. They didn't know this site was coming back again, and the centrists. And Andy Worski, regardless of how I feel about him now, Andy, I will always have a soft place in my heart for what he did for me, because I had him on block, Sargon. He had to get people. he had to ask people to ask me to unblock him. Okay. So I unblocked him, and then, and he said, add me, please, let's talk. And so I talked to him. I said, what the fuck you want, Andy? He's, I'm here to help you. I can help you. And he did. He made a video. And at that time, remember, Andy was loved and had a huge following. And when he put out a video, it got way more hits than I did. And then a lot of people will follow suit, because once he made that video, everybody else started making a video. And then they all joined together. This one lonely right winger that everybody didn't like, and still don't like really, put their differences aside, Sargon, for the better good to prevent me from being doxxed so that criminals don't kill me. Okay. And so we did it together. And I didn't tell people that my docs was on the site, because I didn't want them to find my docs. So I confided in Andy and said, Andy, I'm not going to, please keep this to yourself, but you got to help me get this site down, because it has my full docs. I said, promise you won't tell anybody until we get the site down, because if you tell them, or if I tell them, then they can actually go and break into the database and find my docs. And so we got the site taken down. Okay. She said, I'm not going to apologize. You guys are just acting like liberals. And she blamed it on Richard Spencer. She was like the white nationalist, but she would never say it was a black right winger that started all of this. And,
so how did the site get taken down in the end?
She took it down. She was forced to take it down.
Right. She
was forced to take it down. And now let me tell you something about how my heart was broken by my own party. I am a hardcore right winger. I was a Republican. And when I saw white conservatives tell me, you need to leave Candace alone because she's going to wake up the black community. She's going to get blacks off the Democratic plantation. You just need to get in line because we don't have that many blacks like you. Like I said, everything I'm saying, I got the receipts. I got the videos of them saying this to me. I got it all. And I was heartbroken, and it really hurt my feelings. Like, wait a minute. When has this been about me being black? I mean, I thought it was about the fact that, hey, here's someone who got out of poverty and made something of herself. If something happens to me right now, Sargon, I don't have a mummy and daddy to go to. I have no one to go to. Okay? So I am the success story. But because they don't have that many blacks on the right, I have to play ball. That's bigotry. That's racism. You're saying I'm not allowed to have an individual thought because I'm black.
It's also very much what the left are doing with the identity politics and being black as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. So it's manifesting on both sides of the aisle.
It is,
whether you like it or not.
Yes.
And it's like, fuck, that's a great point.
It
I hadn't
is.
thought of that.
It is. I'm told, and I'm constantly I'm constantly told you need to stop using profanity. But
I'm constantly told that.
Are you really?
And we probably should too.
No, I mean, yeah, but
we probably should. I really do try to moderate myself with swearing.
No, you're right. No, I have to. I like cursing.
Oh, I like swearing.
We said it together.
I know. I really like it. It's cathartic. It genuinely is.
I like using profanity. But no, you're right.
I use it to like bridge sentences, and then this fucking this thing is like I use it to just make sure that I'm connecting thoughts.
Yes,
I don't think of it as offensive. But
no, I don't either. But yeah, but see the black to me, I don't see like. Well, now I'm independent. I last year I left Republican, I went independent. Okay, I still voted. Okay, unlike Candace didn't vote. So I'm like, how are you going to tell blacks to get off the Democratic plantation and not vote yourself? But that's another story. So it's like I left heartbroken because I was really sad that now our side is playing identity politics. I'm not an American. I'm a black vote. And this was the most crushing thing I could ever face. And I kept telling, and because I don't have anything to do with the black community, but I know the black community. Unlike Candace, who grew up in a white community, I grew up in a black community. Now, I don't have nothing to do with them, but I know my people. And when I kept telling them over and over again, blacks ain't going to vote for you. Blacks are not going to vote for you. I'm telling you, y'all talking about getting them off the Democratic plantation. Because here's my question, and I know you're not an American, but I just want to just see if you can answer this. White people and black conservatives on the right keep saying, get off the Democratic plantation. Here's my two questions for you, Sargon, and go where and why.
I would say a Donald Trump rally because it's going to be inspirational. This is something that I really think that so I feel bad for the Republicans in a way that they're trapped in a position where the Democrats are so effective at playing identity politics with racial groups in America. The Democrats have worked really hard to get to this point, and it's not when I say the Democrats, what I mean is the kind of the sort of almost the kind of superstructure of intellectual hierarchy that makes this line of thought what it is. So some white person in academia, or Indian or Jew or wherever in academia, is going to come up with there'll be a very clever person. They'll come up with a certain interpretation of a word that means they can now justify all of these other things, and this will get filtered down to through their sort of networks,
right,
to eventually to like the media class, who will start pumping out the fucking BuzzFeed and Vox articles on why ageism and mansplaining are the world's worst problems now.
Right.
And then this gets pumped into the heads of the younger idiotic activists that we have to argue with on social media. I can't even remember where I was going with this now. But it's very. Oh no, I do imagine. It's very complicated, and it's got a huge amount of institutional power, and it's very hard to directly oppose unless you've also got to compete with it a fully formed theory of all of the things they're talking about. And most people don't have a fully formed theory of transgenderism or gender itself even.
Do you,
really.
you think the Republicans should compete with a game that the Democrats are masters in by playing identity politics? No,
not really. This is not what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So what? This is the problem, though, right? I'm not trying to say should anything. I'm trying to lay it out as I see it. Okay, so I'm not necessarily in favor or against any of the things I'm saying.
Okay.
But the Democrats so this is what I mean when I say like democratic thoughts. Like identity politics. This is the sort of. So it's not all of them all of the time or anything like that, and they obviously all have different levels of commitment. But as a general sort of political entity operating in society, I think you can sort of trace these sort of lines of thought, right? And the Republicans have lost a lot of ground on a lot of these issues because, like, the religious, the evangelical types do have a strong model for gender, for example, right? They've got a very, God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. They've got something they can push back with in their communities. But elsewhere, the Republicans have really kind of lost the argument on that and aren't. That they've got to the point where, and I'm guilty of this too. It's not just Republicans, but it is also Republicans. Like, we're just saying, well, no, we just don't believe you. We biology exists, but the thing is, that doesn't actually counteract their argument. That just says I don't agree.
Wait a minute, you got science. We have science on our side.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is, I know. No, exactly right. Now that is exactly how I approached it too. Then I read all of their stuff, and then you realize that science is fucking irrelevant to everything that they're saying. Right? The idea is
so then why should we care? Here's my thing.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. I agree. But then they'll go because trans people are hurting. And you don't want to hurt trans people, do you? And they'll use your own compassion against you in order to make you accept something that is not scientifically valid.
No. Here's the answer to that. That's not my problem. That's the answer to that.
I agree. Right, that is definitely a sound answer to that. But that's only if we can get people who are. And this is, I went on James Delingpole's podcast the other day, and this is one of the things I was talking about. It's like conservatives are very morally weak at the moment, in general, not all of them, obviously. And this is why Ben Shapiro is doing so well. Now, I don't necessarily agree with Ben Shapiro's moral framework, but he is strong in that framework. He puts across a strong, positive moral vision and says, no, abortion is wrong because of this, but this is because of that. And he makes his argument, and there are people that agree with that, and that pushes forward. And the right have lost that on many other angles, like with gender, transgenderism, gay rights. And I'm not I'm not saying that they should oppose all of these things. And I think, like, for example, the gay marriage debate, right? I find it very difficult for, like, in any, I've never opposed gay marriage because I don't see any legitimacy of the state determining
exactly
that sort of thing. And it was the evangelicals that were basically making the argument for Adam and Eve, that that's lost. That's lost now. The thing that underpinned it was the belief in God, and I'm an atheist, so you can never. And a lot of people, like half of my country, are atheists. So you can't make that argument to them because they fundamentally don't believe it. And so you end up, and the libertarian argument, like we're making, I completely believe. It's not the government's business to tell me who I get married to, as long as they are not. As long as they're a cognitively developed adults who can make informed choices, I can marry who the fuck I want, and so, yeah. But the thing is that seems to have. That. Sorry, I didn't.
I said, oh, you use profanity.
Oh yes, sorry.
No. I don't give a fuck. I'm just saying. I mean, we're supposed to stop using. Go ahead.
It's my standard, isn't it? But anyway, but this has undermined like a large portion of right wing morality. And the left are rushing forward, and they act like they're in the home stretch, And any kind of, I saw an example, an article the other day written by some SJW, fucking who knows, in some publication, where they were saying that social justice as a concept is under attack all across the West, and I'm thinking, fuck, I hope so, because that's what I've been doing my whole career. But they were like, Viktor Orban's going to get rid of it, Bolsonaro's going to get rid of it, and I'm like, yeah, that's why I changed my Twitter background to Bolsonaro. Fucking rip it all out, every Marxist fucking line, you know what I mean? But you need to have severe, like strong moral fortitude to be able to put forward that and say, look, we have a different framework of how we're going to preserve the rights of, gay people, for example, the right for them to marry who they want. We've got, because people aren't going to accept like a hyper conservative religious imposition. That argument was had in the 80s and 90s, and it was lost by them, and so the social justice warriors are effectively on the sort of great pendulum of civilization. They're coming back, they're coming and they've crossed the middle ground, and now they're pushing far into the other direction. And so we need to start amassing like a significant amount of moral force behind our arguments to be able to say, not my problem, and you don't get to make it my problem. And I think that is I mean, it's not going to be, they're not going to like it. they're going to be really, really angry when someone like Donald Trump comes along and says, no, wall or nothing, you know? But Donald Trump not backing down on the shutdown, keep going.
I know. I'm so proud of him, actually. And I hope he doesn't. And Nancy Pelosi, who I call Nasty Pelosi, it has been basically just making a fool out of herself. So this is really good stuff. So yeah, the thing about it is that with conservatives and identity politics, this was a game they should have never played, and especially with black people. Let me just say this: a lot of people don't know black people, my people, especially those on the right. Donald Trump used to be adored and worshipped by black folks. He has been in black lyrics, rap lyrics. He has been in black rap videos. They have, believe it or not, black baby mamas have named their children after, their sons after Donald Trump. Donald Trump was revered, and Jesse Pimp Jackson gave him an NAACP award for his community service to the black community. But see, here's the thing you don't.
But now he's a racist, I'm afraid.
Yeah, let me tell you. I said this. I said this before on somebody else's podcast. They said why, because they were very disappointed that I was right. They was like, Tree, how did you know that blacks were going to vote overwhelmingly for the Democrats, 90%, regardless of all the get off the Democratic plantation? And I said this. I said, first of all, you can't tell black people who they're going to follow. You can't put Candace Owens out there or Joy Villa out there, or even what's the hell? I just said her name earlier. The one who just got out of the White House, who's really close to Omarosa. Omarosa. I got it. Omarosa. You can't put Omarosa in front of black people and say, this is who you should follow and listen to. Black people are going to be like, no, we'll tell you who we want to follow. The second thing about it is that black people receive so many benefits, so many perks for being with Democrats. If you're going to play identity politics, then my question to Republicans, which they can never answer, is what are you going to give specifically for black people, to black people, for their vote? And then they're going to go, well, black unemployment is down. Well, guess what? Nazi unemployment is down too. Look, unemployment is affecting everyone, not just black people. Republicans are not offering nothing. If you want to play identity politics, because remember, the worst thing about identity politics is that one group gets more goodies and favoritism than the other. You have the trans group, the black group, the Muslim group, the gay group. Okay.
Yeah.
You got all these groups, and they're each are going to fight for more attention, for more benefits, for more this and me. When I became a conservative, a right winger, it was not about me being black. It was about me being an American. And it's like that has been gone. I'm so angry. Let me calm down. That has been stripped from our party. And it's not about me being an American anymore. It's all about my melanin.
Okay, so the way that I see this is when you say being an American, I would venture to think that probably is synonymous with being free.
Yeah.
That's what I would be offering black people if I were a Republican in America.
Free from what? Okay,
liberty. And I think Kanye's MAGA hat is the exact thing.
No.
No. Hang on. Look, when Kanye was saying how he loves his MAGA hat because when he's on it, he doesn't have to do what they tell him because he's black, right? That's liberty to Kanye West, wearing that fucking MAGA hat. That is ultimate freedom to him, and I totally get it. When he's talking about it in the interviews and he's tweeting about and stuff, and I'm just like, dude, I am fucking feeling this. I wouldn't want these cunts telling me that I have to do X, Y, or Z because I'm a man, and I don't see why you'd want them telling that you have to do X, Y, and Z because you're black. These cunts don't get to tell any of us what to do. That's what that's what a white person thinks. Let me tell you what black people are thinking. Black people are thinking this. Ain't nobody telling them what to do.
Do you understand how black people are running things over there? If somebody was to let me just show you what I'm talking about, and you know I'm telling the truth. If some white person calls a black person a boy, or let's look at the political thing where a white person said, don't monkey this thing on up. Black people like, I'm outraged. Then a white liberal go, oh no, our Negroes are upset. And then they start protesting and doing all kind of things on behalf of black people. Black people got it easy on the Democratic plantation. So why would they leave? They get benefits, they get welfare, they get affirmative action that we're trying to take away. They get the outrage mobs, they get the boycotts, they get everything. But when you come to this side, once upon a time, when you used to if you come to the right, you have to be accountable for your actions. Blacks don't have to be accountable for their actions when they're with the Democrats. So when they see somebody like Kanye wearing a hat, all they see is a coon. They see nothing but a stupid Negro who hasn't taken his medication. Okay. You white people see Kanye as speaking on behalf of blacks, because believe it or not, the best thing about white people, which is the worst thing about white people, I love this about you all, but I hate this about you, is your compassion. You are the most compassionate race I have ever seen. And your compassion is getting you in trouble, but it's also helping you. I was helped because of white people's compassion. Yeah.
Well, hang on. I don't see Kanye as being a representative for black people. I see what he's doing as being heroic on a personal
to who though?
To Kanye. For him
then
personally,
if it's not going to help anybody, then what's the point? Because here's the thing: if he's not, you're saying this, but I'm going to tell you what all the other white Republicans were saying this until he went off on Candace about her using him for Brexit. Yeah. When he said, before all of that went down, they were like, Kanye is going to wake up the black community. It's always this Kanye is going to wake up the black community. Candace is going to wake up the black community. And nobody has ever asked the black community, one, did they want to come out of their slumber? Two, did they ever ask to get off of the Democratic plantation just to come to the Republican plantation? They didn't ask white people for their help. Now, me and you see that, listen, you stay with the Democrats, that this is why you got ghettos. This is why they don't take good care of you. This is the reason why you're living in poverty as it is now. This is the reason why they support gentrification. We can point these things out, but that doesn't make sense to them, because if they can't relate to the person, you would think that Donald Trump would be the one that they could relate to. But no,
maybe it has to be Kanye then. Because Donald Trump's white.
Black people don't like Kanye. Sargon.
That's a shame, man.
Sargon, on this channel right now, because, I left my main channel because YouTube choked it. Listen, I did, because white people are ignorant about the black community. You know what I did? I went and collected I didn't get all of the videos. And I'll include that video in the description link too. In the description box. But I collected videos of the black community calling Kanye a dumb Negro.
Oh yeah, obviously, but
they're going against him. So it's like, where in the black community do you see support for Kanye? You only see black conservatives and black centrists supporting him, but you don't see black Democrats and black liberals, the so-called people on the Democratic plantation, supporting Kanye. Kanye caught a lot of heat, and this is the reason why, because black people are like, look, Negro, just saying, we don't want to know your political views.
I honestly think that it's the way it's being framed, though, right? Because I think that there would have been, oh God, I'm just gonna hang myself by speaking in these terms, right? But I bet that during times of slavery there were black slaves who said similar things, No. And so you don't think so?
No. The slave. Which wait. I'm sorry. That was unfair.
The slaves
say what?
Give
me a specific.
Well, I can't give you a specific, but I can just imagine that there would have been slaves who would have said, don't cause trouble, because that means more trouble for us, and we've got,
Oh,
we've been made
yeah.
we've been made dependent, so it's just easier if we just do the work, and just do what we're supposed to do, because and that's like, it kind of looks like how you are portraying the democratic plantation, which is such a powerful phrase, because like you say, they're giving them everything for free. So if someone gives you everything for free, it makes you a dependent, it makes you soft and weak and
Right.
incapable of doing it yourself, right?
Right.
And that's a cruel thing to do. But the thing is, it genuinely is. But the thing is, like, you need someone to have been in it and then come out of it and effectively, like, go on the hero's journey.
But
and
Kanye was never poor. Jay-Z was poor. Jay-Z used to be a drug dealer, and black people are going to follow Jay-Z and Nas and other rappers who actually was poor. Kanye
did
never had that.
Did they idolize Donald Trump?
Huh?
Did Jay-Z and I'm not.
Oh yeah. Before President Trump became president, Jay-Z, and I don't know if Nas did. I can't really say, but because President Trump exude capitalism, and if you really understand it, the black community relish in capitalism. Not the socialism. They love about making that cheddar, making them coins, making that cheese. They love making money and just squandering it on any and everything. Okay, that's the thing. That's the bad thing about my people. They know how to make the money, but they spend it immediately. So yeah, they did look towards Donald Trump. But see, here's the thing: because they have been conditioned to believe that the Republican side is the racist side, okay? When you see what has been done to me, and they watch, I cannot believe how many black subscribers I have, how many black subscribers I have, and I'm like, where y'all coming from? Y'all do understand I'm a coon according to the left. And it's like, well, you know what, Tree, we don't agree with you in this whole, supporting the Jews and, white people are cool, but you do tell the truth and you provide receipts. So you don't sit up here and you have nothing to lose. You have nothing to gain. I'm not trying to come into the black community. Also, another thing they respect about me is this. I don't know if you remember this video, but there was a video of Candace and Charlie Kirk sitting on stage, and they were talking, and there was a black female yelling out at her. And they said she was a member of Black Lives Matter, but she wasn't. She was just a regular black student. And Candace yelled at her and demeaned her in front of a white man. Now, me and you see it differently. Like, we see Candace and Charlie Kirk just standing up there. But the way Charlie Kirk licked out his tongue, like, yeah, get her, attack dog.
Jesus.
It was the most humiliating thing for black women, because understand, the black community is a matriarchy. It's not a patriarchy. The black community is owned and run by black women. When you see a black woman demean and put down another black woman in front of a white man, that's the touch of death. You don't do that. That means you buck dancing and acting like a mammy for massa. That's the reason why I gave Charlie Kirk that nickname, Massa Charlie, and it kind of stuck. It did stuck because I have
cruel,
people.
though. That's harsh for you to do that.
It stuck because a lot of black people they don't call Charlie Kirk, they call him Massa Charlie, and it came from me.
Jesus, that is.
I'm so proud of that.
That is mean, though. That is a mean thing.
I'm mean.
Dude, like, I hate to say it, but I'm gonna have to go soon. But
okay.
I would genuinely like to continue talking about this, because I love hearing the kind of the way you describe it, because I'm constantly just trying to get a more accurate view of the world, and the more I work on this kind of project, the more I realize that, fuck me, nobody understands what anyone else thinks and why they think it, and it's just wild.
All right, guys, so I'm gonna let Sargon go, and then we will have a part 2, right, Sargon?
Yes. If you want to contact Callum, again, don't rely on me to organize anything. Rely on Callum to organize things.
I will definitely do that.
Yeah, and he tells me where to be, and I just make sure I'm there.
Awesome. I'm glad you have that too, because I was afraid you was going to show up late. But anyway, thank you so much for having this one-on-one discussion with me, and I look forward to talking to you again.
Oh, anytime. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks for watching. This show is independent and 100% viewer supported by awesome people like you through our membership program. To sign up, simply go to treeoflogic.com or click on the link provided below in the description box for more information.